A nest is noisy. A story about discovery. A nest is noisy. It is a nursery of chirping, buzzing, squeaking, peeping, bubbling babies. A nest is welcoming. Many birds assemble a cradle for their eggs, knitting together leaves and twigs and softening it with grass, hair, moss, fluffy seeds, leaf skeletons, or even a snake's old skin. They might also add candy wrappers, plastic bags, and bits of cloth or paper. But birds are not the only animals to make nests. Orangutans climb high into the rainforest canopy, where each day they braid a new bed of strong branches and line it with a mattress of leaves and twigs. On rainy nights, a woven umbrella of leaves keeps them dry. A nest is enormous or tiny. One of the largest birds' nests is the dusky scrub fowls. Their mounded nests are made of decomposing leaves and twigs that can measure more than 36 feet in diameter and nearly 16 feet high. The smallest bird's nest, the bee hummingbirds, is a golf ball-sized cup of moss, lichen, bark, and leaves, usually wrapped in spider silk. The stretchy silk lets the nest expand as the babies grow larger. A nest is spiky. Elf owls and cactus wrens select a prickly nesting place as a refuge from slithering snakes and other hungry hunters. Or a nest is papery. Hornets, yellow jackets, and paper wasps scrape fibers from weathered wood and chew it until it's a moist paste that dries into a tough paper-like material. The bald-faced hornet queen makes a cell for each egg. Or a nest is pebbly. Eel-like lampreys use their suction cup mouths to move stones the size of peas, walnuts, and even baseballs, and create depressions called redds in shallow stream beds. They lay their eggs in the redds and cover them with more pebbles to hide them. A nest can be even bubbly. African gray tree frogs make a foamy nest for their eggs and branches overhanging water. With her hind legs, the female churns a substance that's secreted from her body into a frothy mass that in the sunlight hardens into a meringue-like crust. A few days after the tadpoles hatch, the nest disintegrates and the tadpoles drop into the water where they can feed and develop into frogs. Gourami fish blow bubbles that pack together to form a nest that floats like a raft in still water. Under the bubble nest, the male and female spawn and produce eggs. Once the female has released her eggs, she swims away, while the male carries the eggs in his mouth and places them in the nest. After they hatch, the baby fish, or fry, swim beneath the gooey nest, where they're guarded by the male fish until they're ready to strike out on their own. A nest is hot. Some South American ovenbirds forge an adobe oven nest made of thousands of mud and clay pellets. Baked in the sun, the nest is a cozy place for their eggs. An alligator piles decaying plants and mud to create a mat. In the center, she digs a hole where she lays her eggs and then with her forelimbs and jaws covers the nest with more vegetation to keep the eggs warm until they hatch as squeaking babies. The temperature of the nest determines the gender of the alligators. A nest is hidden. In spring and summer, tens of thousands of female Kemp's Ridley sea turtles ride the waves together onto the Gulf Coast beaches and drag themselves up to the dunes. They use their hind flippers like shovels to dig a pit in the sand. After the turtle deposits her round, leathery eggs, she tamps down the sand with the underside of her shell and flings more sand over the nest to hide any signs of it. The platypus, one of only 2 mammals to lay eggs, hollows out tunnels or burrows along the stream beds. With her tail, the females carry moist plant matter deep into the tunnel to make a nest, and then lays soft-shelled eggs the size of marbles. She adds plugs of soil to the tunnel to protect the eggs from rising waters, predators, and changing temperatures. A nest is neighborly. There is safety in numbers. Some nest builders live in colonies where there are more ears and eyes to raise an alarm when predators, or animals that eat other animals, are near. Baya weavers build nests that hang from thorny trees or palm fronds like upside-down bottles. Swinging in the air from the woven tube, each nest is protected from lizards, snakes, and bigger birds. In towns of hundreds of inhabitants, black-tailed prairie dogs make grass-lined nesting chambers within a labyrinth of burrows. When a predator is spotted, the prairie dogs bark to warn their neighbors that danger is near. A nest is peculiar. Army ants make living nests called bivouacs. Clinging to one another's legs and jaws or mandibles, they form a writhing ball of millions of ants, suspended from a branch by a chain of more ants. Inside are chambers for the queen, a brood of eggs, newly hatched larvae, and food. Cave swiftlets concoct a nest entirely of saliva. Swinging its head from side to side, the male spits long pearly strands onto the wall of a cave that harden into a lacy bowl when exposed to air. Bird's nest soup, which is made from swiftlets' nests, is among the most expensive foods eaten by humans. A nest is muddy. Flamingos erect a heap of mud, grass, and stones up to 12 inches tall, and then lay a single egg in the depression at the top. The height protects the egg from changing water levels and excessive ground heat. Both parents feed their hatchlings crop milk from their digestive tracts until they leave the nest. A nest is adopted. Some creatures choose nests that are made by others to brood their offspring. Cowbirds and common cuckoos lay their eggs in nests of other birds, where they're hatched and raised by the mother of a different species. The buff-breasted paradise kingfisher flies like a torpedo at a termite nest, smashing into the hard mound with its beak to blast a hole into the side. Inside the mound, they peck out a tunnel leading to a chamber where they lay their eggs. The termites seal off the tunnel from the inside so that their nests are separate. A nest is noisy. Buzzing, swishing, rustling, flapping, and humming with babies, but only until they're ready to fly, swim, or crawl away. Then a nest is quiet. Thank you, everyone.